All right. So what we're going to be focused on today is this is what we're going to call the six-figure formula. All right. So the six-figure formula, right? So our goal for all of us, right? Because I didn't see anybody say that they was already at MVP yet. So with that, right? So our goal is 5K. And by the way, this is recurring, right? Obviously, we focus on recurring. In this program, we focus on recurring income. So if you knew or you just joined us by now, you should probably know, if you don't know, that we don't focus on the typical things that other coaches focus on. Meaning we don't focus on the onesie twosies. Not saying that you can't get somebody to pay you for an hour of your time, but as part of the PCS program, our mindset is completely shifted. We don't sell time, right? We provide value and we get paid based on our value. We don't get paid based on time. That's why we don't focus on, some coaches, some programs, they focus on how much you get paid per hour. We don't sell our time anymore, right? You can't build wealth selling your time. You got to have value, right? So that's why we focus on value as part of the program. Now, there's three things in order to really hit this 5K, right? Recurring, our goal is going to be three things, and this is a new model. So write this down because we haven't went through this before. The first side of it is going to be structure, right? And I'll explain these. First side of it is going to be structure, right? And I'll explain it. Structure. The second thing we're really going to be focused on, and this is going to be the core of what this program is going to look like moving forward. Structure, and this is going to be fun. The second one is seduction. 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 We talking about, coach? I'm going to explain it. I got you. All right. Seduction. And then the last S, so these are three S's. Last S is sales. Remember these. This is what the core of what we need to know and learn in order to build. And obviously, we want to make this 5K, right? So, in order to make that happen, structure, seduction, and sales. That's very key. So, what we're going to do, what we're going to spend the rest of the time on this call doing is I'm going to break down what are the elements of that. And then I'll go into some questions. But remember what I said, we're going to spend 80% of our focus on helping us make progress, and then we're going to be spending time on Q&A. Is going to be based off of this framework. All right, you can ask questions outside of this if you feel like that's something that you really need to do, but a majority of us, from what we can see, a majority of us are, right, we're aiming for rookie of the year, right? So we got to keep it in perspective. Make sense? All right, so let's focus on structure first. So there's a couple different things we need to look at when it comes to structure. Okay, so there's four elements when it comes to structure. Okay, the first element of structure inside of the six-figure formula, which is what this is, right, is the skills in what? Speaking, you should know this, and coaching. One of the things that's really going to make the difference as part of our success is going to be our skills in speaking and coaching, right? Like, we really got to make sure that we're being very conscious of that. I'm still conscious of that till this day. I'm still looking at, not always perfect, grew up in public school, Bronx, New York. My speech sometimes can be terrible, and I understand that. My wife gets on me. So I'm still very conscious of even how I speak. And there's a difference between I'm trying to speak quote unquote proper or being inauthentic versus making sure that I'm not using ums or ahs, or making sure that, or I'm trying to eliminate it, or making sure that I can tell a story coherently, or making sure that I'm able to influence my audience to take action or impact them, or certain things that we talked about. And we have sessions. These are what the practice sessions have been, when we do our speaking sessions and things of that nature. But the skills. So I want us to pay attention to the skills in terms of our speaking. And this is something that I'm conscious of every day. And I want us to be conscious of every day too. Meaning you can have a conversation with a coworker, conversation over the phone, conversation over Zoom. Say, you know what? During this conversation, I'm gonna try to focus on sticking to the point. I'm gonna slip in a story. You can do that at work, or you can do that with talking to your mom over the phone or whoever. I'm gonna tell a story. Get your skills up on an ongoing basis. The people who do that are the people who are going to progress the fastest. If you say, oh, I'm gonna put 30 minutes in my calendar to get better at speaking once a week, you're going to be far behind versus the person who every conversation they're looking to speak better. Does that make sense? So you want to do that. And by the way, if you don't have to keep your camera off, please come on camera. I want to see your beautiful faces. All right, we only get a chance to see each other once a week. Some of us more, depending on if you join the other calls, but come off camera if you can. Come on camera if you can. All right, so the first one is skills. Second is, and write this one down, this one is the big three. What is the big three? The big three is, what are your big three core concepts? What are your big three frameworks? So for you is your three. Guess what our three is? You're looking at it right now. Structure, seduction, and sales. That's our big three, right? For building a six-figure business in coaching and speaking. So I want you to figure out, and this is going to be part of your homework. You don't got to do this right now, right? Because we're going to have sessions where we're going to cover this again. This is foundation stuff that we're going to cover. But your big three is, what are the top three things that you have? You can take those top three things that you have that's part of your 12 core topics or your 12 major topics. You can take that out of the playbook and you can say, what are my top three? And those could be the big three things. And the reason that that's important is anytime you're teaching, you could do videos on it. You could do podcasts on it. You can get interviewed on it, and you can tell somebody a quick framework that these are the big three things. And then we'll talk about how to actually create a model around it. So we'll talk about what does that really look like? Like, how do you come up with your own model? Not necessarily saying it has to look like a triangle, but what are your model? Like, what does it look like? How do you come up with a visual representation of what it looks like? Okay, that's going to be key to standing out in the marketplace too. So your big three. Offer. The next one is your offer. Your offer, this is where we talk about your coaching program and your signature speech. Should be familiar to you. That's what's inside of the playbook. So that's key. All of that is part of structure, and that's in the playbook already. But we'll be focused on making sure that your offer continually gets tight. And that's what we've been doing with our weekly sessions, right? With our weekly kickoff calls each Wednesday. And 4, which is key, I'm bringing back something because a lot of us are starting, or it's not even just starting, but a lot of us needs to get this together. Productivity. We bringing productivity back, baby. We bringing productivity back. And the reason why I added this as part of it is, and I know you probably can't really see because I'm in the way. So let me move my I'm gonna move over here, right? And the core and the reason we bring a productivity back is because I know a lot of us we've been talking about time, we've been talking about energy, we've been talking about priorities. In order to really make $5,000 a month recurring in your business, you got to be productive. There's no way you're going to do that. And there's no way you don't have a schedule. You don't have a calendar. You're not doing anything consistently. You don't have any structure. So this is not just structure for your business. This is like structure for like your day and your personal productivity. So that's key. There's no way you can do that without having your life together from a productive standpoint. So we're going to be talking about productivity too. All right, so that's structure. That is the foundation. Now, when we're looking at seduction, we got 4 more areas. All right, and first of all, actually, let me pause here for like a second. Does anybody have any questions on what we just talked about? Because this is just one side of the triangle. Does anybody have any questions on the structure side of it, or the structure piece? Once, twice? All right, cool. All right, so the second side of it is, now seduction. First of all, what is seduction? Seduction is making your content attractive, right? That's seduction is just a great way. And if you look up the definition of it, it's literally to make attractive, right? Or to be attractive, right? So your goal is, right? So get your minds out the gutter. The goal is to make your content make your content seductive. So you should make people want it. The goal for why you're putting out content online and when you want to build a business online is to make it attractive enough for somebody to want to work with you deeper. It's no different than why you get appetizers. It's no different than anybody been to a mall where you see like like the Chinese restaurants or the Japanese restaurants do that a lot when they got the little server trays, right? And they give you a little piece of why they give samples, right? The reason why they give samples is because they want you to say, oh, this tastes delicious. Let me pay for a whole meal. I want you to look at your content as samples. I want you to look at your content as appetizers. Why I do the live at 5 is an appetizer. Now I got people texting me every day for more.